You're watching the Halos in the Infield network. Proudly sponsored by 714 Tickets, where the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees, no surprises, just tickets. But wait, it gets even better. Use the code HITI at checkout and boom, 10% off. Located at 2424 East Catella Avenue in Anaheim, or online at 714tickets.com. And now, a toast to our friends at Noble Ale Works, serving ice-cold greatness at 1621 South Sinclair Street, Suite B in Anaheim. Mention HITI when you order and get exclusive drink discounts. Heading to the game? Park free at Noble. Grab a drink, then take a short walk to the stadium. Halos in the Infield network, bringing you the deals you deserve.
Yo, we talking harness, heaters, web gems too. Breaking down the lead, bringing facts to you. From the Bronx to the Bay, every team, every game, it's around the league. We're big game James. Around the league, every night. Big time moments, stadium lights. Halos in the infield, bringing the flame. It's around the league. We're big game James. We're big game James. Round up the victory, big game James. James.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Around the League show with James. I'm James Gonzalez, of course. You'll see me here and maybe on some other shows here on Halos in the Infield. It's good to be back. This is, the fourth year, I want to say, with Halos in the Infield. But this time, instead of covering just the Angels, I think I wanted to take a step back from that because everybody else is covering that. I'm going to cover the whole MLB. I'm sick of the losing, so I'm just going to go. I'm going to go cover everything. A lot of work, but I have a full show for you here today. Now, the title, of course, Spring Has Sprung. Players, pitchers, and catchers first showed up a couple weeks ago, and first game was last Thursday between the Dodgers and Cubs. More about that later. But good to get that going. You know, warmer weather. It's going to be 80 degrees where I am tomorrow. I just can't believe that here in San Diego. It's still snowing up wherever in the Northeast. People have gone down to Florida, see the Red Sox or Yankees or Mets. Cubs fans, White Sox fans, whomever have come to Arizona. Of course, Angel fans taking the 10 out there to watch their Angels in Arizona, and everybody else, Arizona and Florida. It's that time of year again where you overpay for spring training games. I couldn't believe the prices, what I've seen, $50, $60, $70, some $80 too. Lawn seats, $30, $20. This is exhibition. I'm just shocked by that. Anyway, enough about that. So I have some storylines from the spring training news that has come out the last week or so, and some new stuff that has come up. So I'm gonna have some hot takes. You might not like them, but if you have any opinions or comments, drop them in the comments right there, of course, and I'll get back to you personally. You'll see my name, the chair with James Gonzalez or James Gonzalez. You'll see me, and I'll personally get back to you about, what you have comment. Hopefully it's an opinion that we can talk about, and then we can get on that. So feel free to dial up whatever you can or type up whatever you can. Now, the first thing that I like to talk about, what I saw in spring training, was the automated balls and strikes system. Now, the testing for it, I should say, started off this season just for spring training games. It's been in the minor leagues 23 and 24. And there's a possibility, as the title mentioned or reads, could be in 2026, depending on how well it does here in spring training, and then next spring training as well. They'll check it out there. So the rules are each team will have 2 challenges per game, separate from the standard replay challenges. So you'll still have, was a ball fair or foul, home run, or whatever else. Did the runner miss the bag? Out or safe call? Catch or no catch? You'll still have those, but this is strictly ball or strike challenges. And the team, by the way, retains its challenges if the review is successful. For me, I wouldn't mind if it was every inning, if they could use one. I don't think that would be a problem as long as the system is moving fast enough. Then we could do that. So instead of having challenges signaled from the dugout, the automated balls and strikes testing challenges can only be made by a hitter, a pitcher, or a catcher. So the battery at the and the hitter at the plate. So it's very quick, as we've seen. It's just a quick tap. Either the pitcher, the catcher, or the batter does it. It's really quick, and it must be done immediately after the pitch. And again, the request cannot come from the dugout at all. So you can't have a manager say, hold on. Okay, challenge that. Where was that call? Challenge that. Now, the thing is, they're going to have a monitor in there, or on their tablets, I should say, seeing where that ball or strike was right away. So you might have a delay, but you might have an umpire say, well, it's too late. You can't challenge. You can't do it. We're already moved on. I already have the pitch clock going and everything. So, according to MLB, the review process took on an average 17 seconds during its minor league testing the last 2 seasons, 2023 and 2024. And what's cool about it, it goes up on the video boards in real time, just like they do at tennis matches and at one other sport. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I can't. But you'll see the big tennis matches, Wimbledon, the Australian Open, the US Open. They'll have that system there. I forget the name of it. Somewhat animal, but they'll have a system if the ball hit the line, and they'll show it, or if it didn't. And the tennis player can challenge, ask for a challenge and make it happen. So the first strike zone challenge was between, again, the Dodgers and Cubs, the first game of spring training last Thursday. And the challenge took 23 seconds, but the ruling was reversed. So they had to get it right at first, but then they got it going. And it was against Max Muncy, where it was called a ball, but the Cubs pitcher tapped his helmet turned around to the umpire, tapped his helmet and say, we would like a review on that. And the ruling was reversed, changed from a ball to a strike. And then Muncy was called out on a third strike. So that was good to see. I believe the Dodgers won that game. But again, the scores mean nothing. I'm going to be saying that every week until the games actually mean something. But the good news is challenges have been going faster. I've been watching here and there some games on MLB Network locally with the Padres and the Angels and the Dodgers. And the challenges seem to be maybe 10 seconds. If it goes over 15, I think we have an issue. But it's been fine. I don't mind not waiting so long for it. And that's the whole thing. We have the pitch clock. We have new rules in there in between innings. The pitcher only gets this long to throw. The batter has only 30 seconds to come up to the plate and be ready. All this. So, yes, there is time in baseball now, which is fine. We needed that. We need more eyes on the game. And what's been funny, though, we've had umpires, I think a couple of them kind of have like smart-ass comments after a challenge went the other way from their original call. There was one, it was the Padres and Angels on Tuesday afternoon, I believe it was. And it's a funny video if you could find it out there. But the umpire, he's been around, but he apparently he would, I think he said, quote, apparently it's a strike from a ball. The challenge is successful. But you're going to have these umpires unfortunately feel like the human phases out of it, right? But it's only for these 4 challenges, balls and strike calls, right? You're still going to have the other challenges out there, but it's only 4. I mean, umpires, they're going to feel slated anyway through this. The good part is you'll have these umpires come up, as much as we don't like the rookie umpires or the young umpires. Just like the players, they're going to come up from the minor league system to the major leagues, and they're going to have a feel for the system. They might not feel as slated. So it'll be interesting to see how the older umpires feel about the system here. And again, the system is still in a testing phase, so we won't see it for the 2025 regular season, but there is a possibility for 2026, as the title mentions right here. But the only thing is, there might not be a 2026 MLB season. The spending of the Dodgers, whatever the case has been, the new media deals that haven't gone through or that needs to go through, the Bally losing all those teams, or losing the TV rights to people. So there's a lot of issues going on in MLB. I'm pretty sure I'll cover them. Todd and Fernando, Rob, they'll all cover them. And it's going to be interesting if we do have a 2026 season, but more on that another time. We'll try to enjoy this 2025 season for sure. All right, so let's take a breath, don't we all? Let's go to Boston and JetBlue Park. Well, not Boston, but Jupiter, Florida, where there is an issue already, and it's about who's playing at third base for the Red Sox. In Boston, or in Jupiter, Florida, the drama-rama has already begun with Alex Bregman, the newest acquisition for the Boston Red Sox, and Rafael Devers, who's been there a while and who will play third base. Now, Rafael Devers, he just signed an extension. It was kind of a not homegrown, but it was an extension that really helped the team be able to get Alex Bregman, right? But the thing is, Alex Bregman is a third baseman, and it's going to be interesting now if he has to move to second or if Devers has to move to first. But Devers, who is one of the worst fielding third basemen in the league, says, I'm staying at third. But he might be pushed, or he might ask for a trade out of Boston. We'll see if that's the case. So it's kind of weird because normally you have time to do the research on a player, to ask. Let's just say they could have asked Devers a while back before they were thinking of signing Bregman. They had to wait for the price to go down, but they could have asked Devers, hey, would you be interested in a switch of a position if we were able to get Alex Bregman? Now, no slight at you, but he's a better fielder than you are. That's the problem, I think, when you have signings so late in the off-season going into spring training, that you're going to have pieces, but they all have to be in place. And positions are kind of a thing that players kind of stand by. Remember Albert Pujols with the Angels? He did not want to leave first base and just be a DH. vehemently said that. So he had no problem doing that with the Dodgers, but with the Angels, he said, no, I'm a first baseman. Mike Trout, of course, the news of him moving to right field, he'll still play some center and DH, but I bet he didn't want to do that. And I think he probably waited so long and it kind of hurt him because he got hurt more often playing center. But we'll see if that helps him play right field. But Devers, he mentioned through a translator that he's not moving positions, and it's kind of awkward because you signed Bregman thinking, okay, we already have a DH. Or, I'm sorry, we already have a first baseman in Tristan Casas, whom is on the rise. And he had some stupid comments about it, too, where he thought he was the manager. It was weird. But they can move him to DH. But then again, you have a second baseman coming up. Forget the guy's name. But he's not ready for the majors just yet, but they might rush him to be there. So if Casas at first, Devers is at third, you already have your shortstop in place and your second baseman, where the hell is Bregman going to play? You wouldn't have him DH. You have to have him on the field with his great fielding. So Devers eventually is going to have to just put his guard down and do what's best for the team, even though he's been there probably the longest. So that's an interesting story out of Florida for the Red Sox. There's reports, though, because Bregman will go to second base, almost a similarity of Alexander Bogaerts, remember, a few years back, where he had to go from shortstop because they had Ha-Seong Kim at short. Bogaerts went to second, and it was kind of awkward for him at first, but he was able to get through it last year. Kim was also hurt most of last season, so he went back to shortstop, and now he's back to shortstop this year. And everybody in San Diego's in the right place. Machado at third, Kim at second, and then you have Cronenworth at second, Bogaerts at short, and then Machado at third. They're testing out who will be the first baseman, as they don't have a lot of money to spend. So keep this in mind when you talk about the Red Sox, and maybe Devers gets that pissed that he maybe wants to trade out of Boston. Speaking of toxicity, and that old song, of course. It's been something with the New York Yankees in Tampa. Now, we know that the Rays will be playing at George Steinbrenner Field for the regular season because they lost Tropicana Field in a hurricane, I believe it was, in Florida. So that's going to be awkward. But before the whole spring training started and everything else, that happened. But days into spring training, the Yankees were without a pitcher that they may or may not need, but he's getting paid like they needed him. So Marcus Stroman, he has all the baggage, from other teams. I watched a video, I forget the creator's name on YouTube, but he went through the history of how toxic he's been at with all the teams he's been with. Toronto, the Mets, the Cubs. Did I miss one? But and last year with New York, with the Yankees. But everywhere he's gone, and on X, on, social media, he's always had beef with somebody. Either teammates or opponents, of course, fans, announcers even. But he keeps it going with the Yankees. Now, he showed up to camp 2 days late despite being in Tampa. He just didn't want to show up. The main reason, he's not one of the starting pitchers. They already have 5 of them with the Yankees in their rotation. And they're not doing 6. Remember, with Shohei, they did 6 in Anaheim, but they're not doing that. So Stroman felt slated that he was off the postseason roster, World Series roster, I believe, as well last year. And that, again, the Yankees already have their starting five. It's kind of weird. But he's not listed as one of them. He did mention, though, when he finally came to camp 2 days later after everybody else did. By the way, that's a bad thing to do as a New York Yankee. We're going to have a lot of Yankee talk, so strap in, folks. But there's a certain way you have to be with the New York Yankees, right? Where you have to be there on time. You have to do the right things and put in your work and, act like a Yankee. And Stroman, it just hasn't worked from day one. He had a really bad 2024 to the point where they couldn't add him to the postseason roster. They couldn't rely on him during the season as well, but they won despite him and despite his record. But he mentioned in the first press conference, right when he got into, or 2 days later, when he got to camp, that he is a starter, quote, "I'm a starter, and I'm not coming out of the bullpen," end quote. He said that vehemently, that I'm not changing anything. I am who I am. Deal with it. I don't care if you went out and got Max Fried. I don't care if you got Garrett Cole already, and a host of others, young talent like Luis Hill, who had a great rookie. I think he was Rookie of the Year, by the way. So they already have all that in the rotation that they don't even need Stroman. Now he mentions Wednesday, Stroman, that there's no way that he's a starter coming out of spring training. So it's funny how you could add that, Curb Your Enthusiasm soundbite to that. But he won't be a starter coming out of spring training. It was like, we told you so. You knew that was going to happen. Deal with it now and just be that long reliever that we'll need since pitchers aren't going, 5 or more. That's another story with Justin Verlander talking about how he wants pitchers to go at least 5, but that won't happen in these days, of course. With Stroman, a possible trade may happen, but he's in his final year of his contract that was 2 years. This is the last season of it, and it may seem hard to deal him. He'll make $18 million this year, but he certainly didn't pitch like it last season, as I mentioned. But a team that is starter deprived might take a flyer on Marcus Stroman and trade for him. But it seems like he's bounced around a lot. And again, everywhere he's gone, he's left something toxic on it. Like a power plant or whatever. And wherever he goes next, remember the Angels wanted him, the fans wanted him. Now are you sure that you wanted Stroman? I don't know. But let me know what you think in the comments, because that obviously is going to be a deal in spring training and out of spring training. And if you see him out in the bullpen, he won't have a happy face. But he better be happy playing for the Yankees, or at least pitching for the Yankees now. Because after that, it'll be a step down wherever he goes. That's what it feels like. I know, more Yankee talk. We'll get through this together. But Giancarlo Stanton, I wish his name was Mike still. It would be easier. Anyway, he went back to New York and hasn't been in training camp or spring training. And people thought he recently visited Yankees head doctor. I forget the guy's name, but the Yankees head doctor about having surgeries on both elbows. He's had a long list of injuries for the last 4 or 5 years, it seems like. He did so well in the postseason to get the Yankees past the Guardians that I think he won the CS MVP for New York. Anyway, surgeries on both elbows, but it turned out that he went back for personal reasons, and manager Aaron Boone left it as that. So it's personal. Don't know what the hell's going on. Maybe he'll come back into camp in a week, but it's something to look out for. Speaking of Aaron Boone, He recently got extended, and now his contract will go through 2027. He's currently 51 years old, and the contract would have him go 10 seasons as the manager of the New York Yankees, still without a World Series ring. With Boone, before that with one championship with Joe Girardi back in 2009, but that's been it. You would figure they would win one by now, but that obviously hasn't happened yet. And since the Dodgers are still the Dodgers, who knows if they'll get one. All right, so again, let's talk more Yankees. But this time, let's talk about them getting rid of their long-standing facial hair policy. Devin Williams, just an example. He's the new closer of New York Yankees. Remember the trade, Nestor Cortez, who gave up that meatball to Freddie Freeman for the Grand Slam in, I think, Game 1 of the World Series? Anyway, he went off to Milwaukee. Devin Williams comes over and solidifies their bullpen as their closer. And we'll see if he stays healthy. He was hurt pretty much all of last year, but he had to shave off his beard. It was pretty long in Milwaukee when he went to Yankees camp. Funny how it works. But now players get to have a well-groomed beard and, of course, a mustache and a beard. Beards haven't been going on since before 1975. Owner George Steinbrenner in 76 had the rule put in where players could not grow beards but could have mustaches but well maintained. Then after a while, mustaches just went away from the New York Yankees. Don Mattingly had an issue with that and I think was suspended, I want to say, back in the 90s because he kept his mustache. And it would look weird, a player from back then, only the rookies would really have, a clean shaven face. But if you were in the league for a while or a veteran, you had a mustache or you had a long beard or something. And they still do. You look at, Charlie Blackmon, Colorado Rocky, I think, who just retired, by the way. When you first see him as a rookie, he's clean shaved. But it just went off where the beard just kept going on through the years, and that's been his thing. Could never be a Yankee, right? But it was cool, though, seeing those Yankees from the 70s, late 70s. You always see the classic games or whatever. Reggie Jackson would have the mustache and the, curly afro hair. Thurman Munson, God rest his soul, had the mustache with the long, hair in the back. There were other players who, had a mustache or had the afro, but eventually would have to get rid of it. But then express themselves, wherever they went. But all the puffy hair and the mustaches, it just added to their egos and who they truly were. But now they get to have beards. And it's weird, too, because, okay, this long policy has been going on forever. But it was always weird seeing the fans, men, of course, or whatever, have the, mustaches with the beards, the whole goatee going and the sideburns, and wearing a Yankee hat or Yankee stuff. It just looked weird. Like, hey, your team has this policy. You're a fan of the team. You should live by it, But now you don't have to worry about that. You got some Yankee fans out there looking like Red Sox fans, with the feathered hat and the whole, goatee going and all that. But now you don't have to worry about it. But the players will have to keep it well groomed. And I don't mind that. That's how everybody should be, in my opinion. Though I don't care how a player looks. I just care about how he produces. And if he produces against my team, right? That's how it should be. But we'll see how it goes. Hal Steinbrenner, the owner of the Yankees, George's son, had a meeting with former players, and there was a host of them. Gossage, Sabathia, who was the newest Hall of Famer. Only 4 of them this year. No, that was good. I forget who else, but there were a lot of them saying that, yeah, this rule needs to go away. Like, everybody else is fine with how they look on other teams. Allow something. Like, the brand will be fine. The Yankee brand will be fine without worrying about how a dude's face looks, you know. But you know, I know that In and Out has their certain style that they have to look like anyway. He had a meeting on Monday with former players and was convinced that we should kind of relax the policy and allow players to be players. The only time I think they were allowed to be something was on Players Weekend when they had their nicknames in the back. That's pretty much it. If you're a Yankee player, so now it's going to be awkward, but you'll see the Yankees now. Players have the beards and everything, but it'll be well groomed. It won't be so much, you know, a playoff beard. You won't see that though. All right, next topic. 2 more to go here. As you'll see, goodbye ESPN. 1 more year. Despite having 3 years left on their contract for TV or streaming, this will be the last season for Major League Baseball on ESPN. Both sides last week agreed to forego the rest of their contract together after this season and will part. ESPN, it seems like, putting more money towards other leagues than MLB, which they do not cover as well as other sports. That's just in my opinion, but I think you and I have seen that out there. Rob Manfred and MLB citing that ESPN has shrinking coverage of their product on their channels, on multiple channels too. ESPN News, ESPN2, ESPN Deportes, regular ESPN, ESPN Ocho, wherever you get it. ESPN Plus. The commission mentioning he will go to a smaller platform for better revenue. Okay, I mean, yeah, it's like $500 million you're putting into it, but now you got to put it somewhere else. My guess is that they'll probably go to Turner full time, along with having FS1 and Fox, of course. They already have games on TBS weekly on Tuesdays and postseason games. So I think the only right move, since Turner's losing the NBA package, is to go to Turner and replace that in the summer. It might have a little friction with the March Madness, but I think you could get around that. Certain days it won't be on. You'll show it during the week, MLB, and you'll be fine. But it's a shocking move, but I think you saw it coming. ESPN, they're so damn focused on their personalities, only talking football or basketball, even though one of them didn't play the sport. You know, some of them didn't play the sport professionally, or you just have the same loudmouths just going on and on and on. And I think the only time they talked about baseball was maybe the World Series, if it was a Yankee or a Dodger topic. That was pretty much it, right? Or if it's race baiting, they would talk about MLB. But that was it. There was nothing else. So I felt like this had to happen. But it's going to be interesting. Again, 2026 is going to be the off-season. This off-season is going to be everywhere and anywhere. Just hold on wherever you are. It's going to be crazy. All right, final topic here. I'm not trying to go over a certain point and keep everybody entertained. It's bad, Vlad. The Blue Jays failed last Tuesday, I should say, to extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and the trade seems imminent. Both sides seem to get a deal done. They tried to get it, but it seemed like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and his camp just kept upping his price. it'd be, 10 million this time. You ask me again, it's 15 this time. You ask me again, 20 million this time. And the Blue Jays just had enough. It seemed like their president mentioned in past tense that we tried. He's been great here. We'll see what happens. But it's all past tense comments where it seems imminent that he's gone. So a trade could happen anytime, it feels like, with Vlad Jr. The Blue Jays, of course, this is a 1-year rental for whomever it will be. He's in the final year of his deal with the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays have so many other issues. I mean, they couldn't get other starting pitcher free agents. They did get Anthony Santander, who I want the Halos to get, but of course he went to the Blue Jays, but they really couldn't do anything else. And they don't have a great bullpen. Their starters are practically young, and you can't really rely on them. And they had all those, sons of players that, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Dante's son, Bichette's son, Bo. Those two have stuck, but Kevin Biggio, he's bounced around the league. And the last time I remember, he was with the Dodgers last year, and that was it. That'd be interesting to see where players have landed from the Blue Jays, but there's just been a lot of change with the Blue Jays, and now the big domino is about to fall, where it looks like he will be somewhere else eventually. And it may be signed elsewhere. We'll see what happens. So that's been some of the spring training storylines. There'll be more next week. Hopefully, everybody can join me Thursdays when this comes out, of course. I'll have more spring training news and notes as the month of March comes up here very soon, by the way, very soon. And, Saturday. Eventually, you'll get my tired predictions for the divisions, for the playoffs, and who will be the World Series winner, even though I think we all know who it will be. But there's going to be interesting stories all around the league, and literally I'm going to find them and get them out to you. So again, it's a little pace of change from just covering the Angels. The Angels do have a lot of stories, and of course that would be covered by everybody else on the network. But this is something I always wanted to do. Eventually the games will be meaningful, and I will break down some of them and some of the plays we've seen and some of the stories out there, like Devers, if a player's unhappy, or Stroman, if people are unhappy, we're going to figure out where they'll go next, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So stick around, Halos in the Infield, for not only this show, but all the programs. I mean, there's a whole week of programs. Like, why would you go anywhere else? Don't. The whole network is booming here. Don't go anywhere. So thank you for watching the first episode of Around the League with me, James. Come back for the next one next week. I'll have just more storylines and more interesting stories, I hope, that you could comment on below here. In the chat, not in the chat, but in the comments. So take care, folks, and just keep watching Halos in the Infield. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.